Welcome back to. You want to introduce it?
I don't mind introducing it. What's the
LiucciCast with Sean Porter, special guest.
Welcome back to the LiucciCast with Sean Porter, special guest
Cam Buckley.
Camron Buckley. Okay, I can do that.
Brought to you by our good friends Greg and company over at Aggieland Chevrolet. Get out there, check them out.
Oh yeah,
They'll do everything they can. Cam,
great guy,
former
great.
employer.
Love it over there.
Chevrolet.
Love those
So,
guys over there. Go see them.
Go see them. They're super friendly. It's super easy to work with. It's fun. I enjoyed it and am loving the vehicle right now. The little I got.
I did see your truck. Your truck is.
What is it? I got the Z71.
Nice.
Love it.
Yeah,
Love
nice.
it.
That's nice. Did you get the black on black?
Yeah.
I like
Change
that.
up the wheels for me. It was nice. Sean, Buck, we got a really big one coming up this week. Before we go into that, let's talk about. They're going to dive back into SEC play, but let's talk for a little bit about Saturday night. Bowling Green, not pretty. Survived it. You know, it just felt like. I guess my take on it is twofold. Number one, you guys have probably both played these kind of teams. I don't even know what to call it. Let's just call it mid-major, that are better than they're supposed to be or better than you expect. But we also watch that game and know that A&M should have handled them better than they did. But unfortunately, we've also seen them lose those kind of games. Not just to Bowling Green, but even SEC games sometimes that they're supposed to win, that they give away when it kind of starts getting away from you. So on one hand, I'm like, okay, brush that off and move on. On the other hand, Sean, I know you and I have talked a lot. I wanted to see them take a noticeable step forward. That was what we talked about from Florida, which was nice, to build on that, and we would feel a lot better sitting here today. Now it's like, I'm almost scrub it. Let's move on. But what were your thoughts on the game?
I mean, first and foremost, a win is a win, right? You know, the game is all about getting buckets. So, you know, it's all about wins and losses, really. You know what I'm saying? So getting a win is big in any week and just moving forward from the win. But as far as the way that the win looked, it was very kind of, you know, performance from us. I thought that we could have put a lot more out there offensively and defensively this week. So I was a little bit disappointed in the way that we played. But hopefully we can start off a new leaf, turn over a new leaf, you know, next week in Arkansas.
Well, what did you think out there Saturday night?
I have to agree with him. Definitely, a win is a win. I know being in those games, it's easy to look at those games and say, hey, we're supposed to win. But going in as a team, most important is make sure you're doing the little things right to lead into this week SEC play. So I still believe in the team, of course. I'm an optimistic Aggie.
Yeah.
So definitely, it was a rough way to win, but a win is a win, and I think they're going to make sure they complete and fix what they're going to fix for next week, for this week coming up.
I think of the games over the years, and were you on the team yet when Florida International almost beat us? Cyrus and C-Mike went off at the end. I think there was Gerard was hurt. There was all those picks.
Yeah, I was on the team.
And I remember your freshman year, Nichols was a close game. It was Kellen's first ever game to start. Bowling Green, to me, was on a different level than them. They reminded me, I brought it up this week, and ironically, you and I were talking about it last week. They reminded me more of La Tech, which, by the way, I have no idea why y'all played them on the road, what the ADs were doing, scheduling Texas A&M to go play at Louisiana Tech. But they reminded me more of that team. I think finished like 10-2. And if you guys played them again the next day, you probably beat them by 17 to 24 points. But, I mean, they were a cut above the normal. Bowling Green seemed like that to me. I don't think I could sit here straight face and say that if A&M had lost that game.
Right.
But I understand, like, watching them play, you watch as a defensive guy. I thought they were really creative offensively and did some things that I felt like, and we'll talk about it more in the defense in review, but just kind of had our guys maybe a little flat-footed.
Yeah, caused us to hesitate a little bit. But, I mean, You're always going to get that against a well-coached team, no
Yeah.
matter the level that they are, whether it's a FCS team or all the way up.
And you had your chances to pull away, and you didn't.
Had your chances to pull away and you didn't. Had your chances to slam the door shut and you didn't. So I mean, we can only put these types of games on us.
Yeah.
I guess they just have to have I know for sure defensively they need to have a tough week of practice. They need to have a tough week of practice where they're focused on all of their gap discipline, all of their technique discipline, all of their where should I be at in this zone discipline. All of their communication when it comes to those rub routes and those man breakers, those man beaters that these offensive coordinators run. And another thing that I see people trying to take advantage of us with, which once again Bowling Green just did, is bunching up into the boundary and running plays into the boundary. For some reason, we get confused when they do that. It's like, oh, they're not supposed to do that. I've seen several times this year, several plays where it's just like, man, these guys, you look a little bit, I don't know, hesitant or lost on those type of plays, on how to react to those type of plays. I definitely think that seeing that a few times, Elko will start to get that cleaned up because he's a defensive-minded head coach, so he ain't gonna let those little mistakes ain't gonna fly too long.
Yeah. Well, you played at A&M on offense while Elko was the defensive coordinator.
For sure.
What is it? What makes an Elko defense difficult to play against and prepare for?
The attention to detail.
Really?
That's what's surprising. They are very attention to detail, and I was roommates with one of his leading linebackers tackling that.
Oh yeah,
so
buddy. Yeah.
I see they was very detailed just watching that film, and I know, like he said, in practice this week, that's one thing that they definitely are going to hone in on is that defense and correct those mistakes.
What have you seen, Buck, from the receiving corps? First week, I was disappointed in it. Now I feel like this week, I saw more guys open this week, and they didn't always get the ball, but I did see more guys getting open in that secondary. It was a little encouraged with maybe some progress there at the position.
I liked how I'm liking how the receivers look because one thing they do, they don't lose the confidence in themselves as a group. That's one thing that's most important. It's easy to be down when you're not getting the ball or when you're open not getting the ball, but they continuously show up every week and make the plays that they can that come to them.
Yeah.
And that's all you can ask for a receiver. Of course, you can make those plays that's a little out of your reach, but as long as you come in and you keep that intensity high, you making sure your assignment is detailed and you make the catch you're supposed to catch, then you're doing your part for that team. You make those blocks, you're doing your part. Do your part, and the whole team will be successful.
I'd like to see somebody out of this group step up, or a couple guys out of this group step up. We know that number 3, Noah. What's his last name?
Thomas.
Noah Thomas is out there. He's a pretty solidified starter. Moose is not really a solidified starter anymore. Who else is a solidified starter? I mean, I feel like I'm seeing a lot of different guys, a lot of different faces out there each week. They're shuffling people in and out, trying to figure out who's gonna be the guys.
Yeah.
That's
I
up to
think
the players.
Cyrus got banged up. I don't know how much. I think he got banged up in practice, but he's fine. But
it's up to
I don't know
players
how much
like
he
him or
practiced.
new faces like him to really take the reins and really, go out there and make the type of plays and make the type of blocks and just add to their team winning.
Yeah.
In a way that tells the coaches, like, don't rotate me. Like, I'm the starter. We got, 3 or 4 guys. We might got 3 solid guys and then a guy who's going to rotate in and out or a guy who's going to be our 4th receiver when we're playing 4 receivers. But I think we should, somebody's got to take control in that
See a leader in that room. That's
Right.
what's lacking right now. A leader
Right.
hasn't really stood out, or that's who people respond to when he speaks up. That's something that I'm not seeing.
is that harder to do? Like to me, a linebacker, you're in it, you're in the mix, and you can kind of, you either like Buddy did and like you did, you either assert yourself or you can't. Like you're in there, so you're gonna get tested.
Yeah.
At receiver, is it harder to do if there's no one that's catching? I'm not saying you can't do it. Obviously, someone can still, but how much harder is it when no one's kind of regularly putting up numbers, catching passes? You look at these stats, and it's a guy catching, 1 week, 3 the next. Does that make it harder? I guess is what I'm asking.
That's what I'm
I learned early in the career is as a receiver, you can't pay attention to those things. You pay attention to your things, you get caught up in them. You get caught up in them, your mind's not in the game, and that's where the emotions come about. Of course, you got those players that are going to consistently get those stats. That's just that player is consistently getting that stat. But again, it goes back to doing your job. The play is designed a certain way. You don't know what that defense is going to run. The quarterback is going to take what the defense give them. So I think just staying out of the mindset of I need to get these stats or I need to get these catches is most important, because once you fall into that rabbit hole, it's hard to just become back into that team play.
Yeah.
But you have to stay in the mindset of I need to make winning plays all around, right? I need
That's
to be
just gonna be a
open,
dog
whether I'm making a
mindset.
catch or not. Just
For
like I
sure.
talked about last week, the separation, right? If I'm a wide receiver, I can't control whether you throw me the ball or not, right? What I can control is how far I am away from this guy who's trying to cover me, right?
Yeah.
Getting separation, making myself a big target. I keep talking about the same thing, but that's what I want to see out of our receivers is clear cut, somebody step up. Somebody say, no, I'm better than all these guys. I should be in there more than these guys.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm the
No,
guy.
I'm
Let's
with
play.
you. I'm with you.
It should be some ownership in that room is what I like to see.
I'll tell you what, exactly along the lines of what you're saying, I saw some of that, and I saw some of it at the end of last year too. When he really beat Evan Stewart out down the stretch last year because he had a better attitude and work ethic, was number 9, Ja'Day Walker. Now, I don't know what, he's been quieter earlier this year, but I saw 9 make some really important plays Saturday night, and I don't know if A&M wins without him. He had the crossing for about, I don't know if it was about 30 yards on that one.
And I believe he can be that guy, just due to the fact that he's a person that everyone gravitates to, just his positive mindset. Just you see other people scoring touchdowns. The first person I see right there is 9.
True. Yeah.
So, and he makes those plays, he makes those blocks. So, me personally, if he steps up to be that leader, he can if he steps up into that role.
Yeah.
He could be that receiver for that group.
Yeah, he has
alongside Noah, and alongside could be a powerful receiver group if they all step up and held each other accountable to the level that they all should play on.
There's a lot of winning plays to be made without catching the ball, man. Like you said, block, man, get open, do what you need to do, man. Make yourself such a threat that they have to pay attention to you. That is helping your team.
Yeah, especially the way the O-line's been doing.
O-line's held up super solid this year.
So I'm like, if they can get some help from the tight ends and the receivers blocking, I think we might even see more big plays in the running game, which how much that opens things up.
I think we'll see all this weekend.
My favorite play of the game might have been, there were 2 things where I said, okay, when they got the punt blocked and had the ball at the 8-yard line, and a field goal ties it, if they go 8 yards from here to there, they're trailing going in the fourth quarter. And you guys know this better than me, but even just watching games, when you can feel unexpectedly you're in that game and everything tightens up, and then the mistake comes. That stop to not only force the field goal, but then get the miss. And then Ja'Day, it was 3rd and 9, and it was after, I think, the reverse. It was after the reverse, and they went back down. I think they ended up with a field goal. But it was 3rd and 9, and he catches it. And he had to, fight through 2-3 tackles to get the first down and gain 11 yards. And that to me was one of the plays, okay, now I'm seeing dudes that, even though it's not going perfect, they absolutely want to win this game. And it was like you said, just one play by one guy, one stop by a defense that the last 2 drives got ripped. Right. So I want to ask you, Buck, what are your early impressions of Marcel Reed? You played with Kellen when he was a true freshman starter, so you've been through a young quarterback. What are your early impressions on Marcel?
I like him. He came in when he came in and showed up. He came in and showed out, and you can only respect someone for doing that. And then he looks comfortable. It looks comfortable. It's easy to sit back there and be timid. It's your first time at Big It's hard to play in Kyle Field.
Yeah.
It's hard to play in Kyle Field for anybody. So, but I like how he's looking. I like the progress I'm really excited to see what he can do and grow as a career. I really am, because he really looks good. He can run the ball. He has a nice touch on the ball. He's reading defenses for far as I can see for certain plays. He can read the defenses pretty well. So I'm excited to see what he can do. I'm impressed by him.
I think he looks good too. One thing that I did notice in the Bowling Green game that I don't like about it, that I don't like just about what he did in that game specifically, is got a little bit of happy feet.
Yeah.
These guys, and honestly, now that I'm thinking back to what Connor was doing in that first game and seeing him now on Kyle Field again, it's like, maybe they don't trust the O-line yet. Maybe it's so fresh and so new that they're not sure if these guys can really block everybody, right? But for now, they're blocking everybody, right?
And
So
I'll
we
tell
gotta
you,
believe it.
They block
the
it.
running backs are blocking too.
Running backs are blocking.
Really
They're clean pockets. I saw a couple of times against Bowling Green this game. It was like guys are blitzing. Guys are coming through those gaps, but they're picking them up. They're beaming them. They're hitting the ground, right? Your pocket is still clean. If a guy runs at you full speed and your lineman hits him and he's over there now, you're still clean.
Yeah.
Relax. Take a deep breath. Make a clean throw, right? I want to see more of that kind of like
Sit in the pocket.
that
a little bit
Eli
longer.
Manning, man.
Yeah.
Like, calm down and just throw the ball. It's okay. Like, we're playing quarterback out here, right? As long as you're not getting hit every play, you should be able to do that as a quarterback.
Yeah. No, they've. It's crazy to me for his, and I hate to keep bringing it up, except some of these guys were on. A lot of them were on that O-line. They were so bad, and I think so beaten down the last couple of years, like mentally and just. I don't care what you say. Like, too many athletes and even coaches read too much stuff. And so if you're a young lineman and you're having a bad game and you're reading stuff on Twitter or on social, it's tough. And they had a tough couple of years. I could not be more impressed with how far that position has come, because 4 games, 7 tackles for loss.
They're holding up solid, man.
3 sacks.
They're
4
holding
games.
up solid.
Yeah, so they'll have to hold up solid this week, because I think this is a game up at, you guys have both been a part of it. You played them every year. You played them what? You played them every year?
Yeah.
Because it started, was it freshman year? Might have been the first one for you.
What?
First game of the A&M Arkansas series.
Yeah, I didn't play him in high school freshman year. Had to be my
I
first
meant
one.
for all of us.
He said for A&M. For A&M. That was the
In
first
the
time
series.
A&M played Arkansas.
That
That
was
was
the
serious.
first, yeah. No,
was
not
it?
ever, but when they redid, because they were in the Southwest Conference together, when they redid the series, y'all were in the Big 12, Arkansas and the SEC, and that plan was they weren't going to be in the same conference. It was a non-conference game every year, and I'm pretty sure that was your, because you went 0-3, and there's a tie in there that unfortunately we have to talk about. It's Bobby Petrino, who's their OC now, and then you came out
I beat him
senior year and just ran him out of the building. That was here, right?
Yeah.
So you've played in the game. One of those years was a wild one.
But, I mean,
2 of them were real
we lost
competitive.
by a field goal or something. Or last second.
I think
whatever.
Mallet got us the second year 24-17 or 24-20. And then the
Trent in the back of
second
the end
year
zone.
was a field goal. That was where the offense just went crazy in the first half, right? Yep. 35-17. And then I think we lost 41-38.
My junior year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then senior year, it was like maybe 52-10 or something.
Yep.
So you've been in it 4 years. You played in it 4 years. What is it about this game that has made it so unpredictable and wild? I mean, it's not like we're really like an arch rival of Arkansas. You guys in Texas high school football don't grow up like most kids at A&M didn't really consider Arkansas. Like, what is it that makes this such a wild competitive rivalry?
I think it feels like a rivalry. It has that feel of a rivalry. I don't know if it's because we're playing in Jerry World and it feels like we're walking into their house a little bit, or what it is, but it definitely feels like a rivalry. And each year it's unpredictable, like a rivalry. You never know who's going to win or what's going to happen in that game. I don't know. We just kind of fell into a little mini rivalry.
Yeah, I mean, I like it because A&M's now won 11 of the last 12.
Yeah,
but
I think it being at Jerry World does play a big role in it. I think it's not going to be there, in the coming years.
yeah,
Right?
it probably won't feel quite the same.
Yeah, I don't think it'll feel the same.
What was the craziest one you were in? Because there was a stretch there where like 4 out of 6 or something went to overtime. It was
Yeah,
wild.
my freshman year one was the one where Armani got the interception in the game, and Christian Kirk had took I want to say it was a punt return or kick return.
Kick return, yeah.
That was a close game.
He caught that touchdown in the corner from Kellen, ran the kick back. Yeah,
That was my
a
first
wild
time in the Arkansas game. That was a crazy game. I think it fell into a rivalry. As long as I know, those games have always been close every year for some reason. For some reason, that game is always close and tough.
A lot of times involves a huge A&M comeback too. Unfortunately, we've needed them, but we've gotten them. And there was another one you were in, I think, where Dono had the interception
That's
at the
exactly
end
one.
to
That's
ice
another
it.
one. I do remember that.
Everything's like ending on these end of game things. There was another time I think where they drove down and you guys had to get a stop. So you had tell me that play you had. I remember early in one of those games, I felt like you had a long catch and run, maybe down to like the goal line almost.
Yeah,
they might have even reviewed it.
Yeah, they did. It was like across the field. I vaguely remember it, but I know it was short by like on the 3 or 2, and I tried to reach out for it. But
How loud does that place get on a play? I mean, not that but just being in there, how loud does it get in there?
It gets pretty loud. I'm used to Texas high school. Us for playoffs is played, so you're used to a large crowd being in that. And then Kyle Field is nothing louder than Kyle Field to me.
Yeah.
Kyle Field, so no.
How familiar, speaking of Arkansas, I'm going to go into this, how familiar are you with being a Cedar Hill guy and South Dallas? How familiar are you with Jaquindon Jackson, their running back?
Not so
Really?
familiar.
He's a little too young for you?
Yes, I haven't been back home in a while.
You know the background of him?
No, I don't.
So he was the quarterback at Duncanville.
Oh, I know who this is.
They was in the game with North Shore when they beat him on the Hail Mary. Goes to Texas.
Oh, I do
as
know.
a QB.
I know what you're talking about.
Then goes to Utah.
And runs it.
Yep. And now he was their leading rusher and had a great Rose Bowl, I think, one year. Now he's leading the SEC in rushing.
Very, very good player. Dangerous guy back there.
How worried are you? How dangerous is their quarterback? Big year at Boise. I feel like he's been pretty erratic throwing the ball, but he ain't scared to take shots, and he's really hard to tackle. It looks like.
I think we got athletes for those guys. We can tackle. We got some pretty good athletic DBs. We got some sure tacklers at linebacker in New York and Williams. So I think we should be fine on the back end tackling those guys, bringing them down.
What about the pass rush? Do you do it? How do you think those guys are coached on the ends? Is that kind of that?
This is a regular guy. I mean, this guy's not no world beater, Lamar Jackson.
So you're saying go just do your thing, get after.
We got better. These guys that we have right now, the two Shamars and Scourton, even 13 in there, they're elite athletes. They're probably faster than this quarterback in foot speed, and they're 280 pounds. So I'm not worried.
You
about
wouldn't
that.
do that whole rush straight up.
Ain't no way. There's two guys ever in the history of college, maybe three. that you'd ever
Lamar.
do, and Cam Newton, maybe.
I don't know if Cam
wouldn't even
he
do it
didn't have to
against Cam.
scramble. He would just run.
Yeah. So it's like, Johnny and Lamar are really the only two guys you'll ever even think about doing that.
Yeah.
Wow, this is a regular guy that went to Boise
Just take him
State,
down.
transferred to Arkansas.
I would love to see, Sean, I would love to see this be the game that D-line just throttles an opposing offensive line. And I think Scourton's starting to they're holding the crap out of him, first of all. But I think he's starting to turn it on. I think Shamar Stewart's been really good the last couple weeks. Yeah. And then Turner made some I think
they are kind of scorching guys. It's just they're not getting all the way there because these offenses know we have a D line that's better than y'all's O line.
Yeah.
So they're calling the plays accordingly. So it's not. I don't think that they're playing bad.
I don't think that's the strength of Green, the Arkansas quarterback. Mm-hmm. So that could be an interesting.
Because he's going to have to either get rid of it or run. Mm-hmm. And I don't think he'll fare well running.
It's not as much time as he wants to.
So he better get rid of it, or he's going to take some shots.
What have you seen from the defensive backs so far?
Arkansas?
A&M.
A&M, I like them. They're competitive. Mm-hmm. I like they ball hawks. They going for the ball, and I like how eager they are to get to the ball. That's one thing. They surrounding the ball. They chasing the ball down. That's one thing I see about those DBs. They're not giving up on a play. If you notice that, they don't give up a play. They're chasing. They're going after the ball, and that's what you want out of DB.
It's 2 3-1 teams. Both of them probably are feeling in their locker room they should be 4-0. Arkansas had that big lead at Oak State and lost. A&M, Notre Dame. It's not going to get much attention around the country, but I feel like, man, this one with Missouri coming in here the next week and not playing really good football, and then you're off, and then you play Mississippi State, who's playing bad football. I feel like this Arkansas game for A&M is a lot bigger deal than I was expecting it to be. Do you feel like if they can win this one, you start to get some momentum and have some time to really improve?
I mean, hopefully. I think that, it's bright. Looking, if we can get this win, it'll be bright, the next couple of weeks getting those wins.
If you get, to me, if you beat Arkansas and you're on a 4-game winning streak and you climb another couple spots in the rankings and you got the number 7 or whatever, Missouri coming in, I think all of a sudden Kyle Field goes to this, even though it's 11 a.m. game. but it goes to this, and then your odds of beating them go up a lot if you beat Arkansas.
We got to start putting it together over these next couple games. You know, on the way to that Missouri week.
No question.
For sure. I definitely agree.
So, what's your prediction for the week? And each of y'all give me a player that if A&M wins, you think is going to have a good game. And then give me a guy that has to. In other words, if he doesn't perform at a high level, you don't see us winning. Mm-hmm. And then give me kind of like your prediction on somebody that's going to go off.
My prediction on somebody's going to go off or at least have a couple of pop plays is 3. Big safety. Ratcliffe.
Yeah, 3 picks in a row.
3 picks in a row. He might continue that with the guy who's going to sling it around and try to run around or get a fumble recovery or something like that. I got him making another big play in the Arkansas game. Somebody who I feel like has to play well each and every week is number 21, Torian York. I've kind of like withheld my opinion on the linebackers so far this season because they're young and it's a new group and they're still trying to build and mesh together. But I need to see him come on big time as the season rolls on.
I actually wrote that today too. I'm not saying he's playing bad, but I think like
he needs to.
It's like Buddy. It's like one day you looked up and you lived with him. He's one of your best friends. One day you looked up and Buddy Johnson went from a young guy you say, oh, he has a chance to be good, but to just all of a sudden you're like, wow, he's one of the better linebackers in this conference. And now he's, on the Cowboys. It's just, I'm with you. Like, it's not that he hasn't done anything, but it's like you want him to kind of ride. My other guy like that, too, right now is Bryce Anderson at safety. Yeah. I want to see those two guys because I think they could both really play a lot better moving forward than they have. Not that
they can play at the next level up.
Yeah.
So they're both playing kind of right here. It's almost, I'm not saying that they're chilling, but it's like their chill level of play. They can they can be better than this.
Yeah.
Right now this season, I'm not saying they need to go have an off season and lift weights and train and stuff. They can be better than this right now. So I just want to see them focus in and just get to their potential. These guys are really good.
I'm with you. And what are your two? The guy, the X factor, who you think is going to pop off, and then the guy that we need.
X factor, I definitely see being a quarterback. I definitely want to see him. If he can sit in there much longer and become more comfortable in the pocket, giving those receivers a chance to get open and make those plays, I'll see the receiver having a big game this week if he can do that. That's what I see.
And then so you're tying them both together.
Yes, I want to see the quarterback sitting in the pocket a little bit longer, giving those receivers time to make those plays, and then see him making those reads. And then I believe the receivers will have a big game if that happens.
All right. I think I'm going to go with Le'Veon Moss. I would love to see. I mean, he's been so consistent, and all the talk's going to be about 22 for them. I'd like to see Le'Veon Moss have himself a day, and then and that O-line, which that would tie in together, obviously. And then I think the guy that has to get it done. The easy thing to say is Marcel at quarterback, but I'm actually going to go with one of those
3 or 9
receivers.
3 or 9.
Yeah, somebody has to have a big game. It doesn't have to be 140 and 2 touchdowns. Somebody has to make several plays through the air for A&M to win.
Yeah, we need an established receiver out there, man. We need somebody that makes the defenses, that the defenses have to put on their scouting report and say, we have to worry about this guy.
Make them shift. Right? Make them put a safety over there. Take some away.
It's like we got to develop that. We have to have that here at Texas A&M.
And I think 11's going to wreak havoc. I have a feeling 11 is going to go in there and
watch his technique on the play actions. You just got to stay clean, man.
Really?
Yep. Stay clean. He's a really good player. He has a very, very high motor, such a high motor that he feels like, I can do anything out here. And he's that good, but it's like you still have to be disciplined. Mm-hmm. We're still playing big-time defense. You have to be disciplined to help your boys out. Don't be so crazy that it's like you put somebody else in a bad spot. Or you put the whole defense in a bad spot, and we have to recover from that. But I think he's really good, high motor. I just want to see him be a little cleaner. Just a couple of plays.
Buck, appreciate you coming on. That was fun.
Thank you.
Sean, we're about to do a little defense in review. I'm Billy Lucci. These guys carried it. LiucciCast with Sean Porter.